Everybody, I'm Tyron Woodley, UFC Welterweight Champion of the world. I'll be fighting in UFC 205, Madison Square Garden, November 12th.
So my first question that I want to ask you, I grew up watching WWE wrestling or WWF back in the day, but how did you first get interested in wrestling?
You know, it was actually the same way. I thought that wrestling was pro wrestling. So when someone asked me to do it, I'm like, heck yeah. Went to practice, and I was looking around. I was looking for like the ring and the ropes, and they weren't there. So I'm like, I'm already here. I might as well just do the practice, and I had fun with it. And the coach asked me, hey, it's a wrestling match tomorrow. You want to go? I said, all right. I went, and I won the tournament with one day's practice. And
Wow.
then from that point, I just think I was pretty natural at wrestling.
How old were you?
I was 10.
Wow.
Yeah, 10.
Okay. So you obviously excelled at wrestling through, you know, junior high school, college. What inspired the transition into MMA?
You know, wrestlers were doing really well in MMA. All the wrestlers I knew from college that were on the Ultimate Fighter show, the Tough show, or just having great careers. You know, at one point, almost 80% of the UFC champions were wrestlers. And I think their ability to take the fight to the ground if they needed to, the work ethic, the mentality, the drilling, you know, we always drill things so repetitiously that they end up being a reaction. And I think in general, fighters can adapt that to boxing, to jiu-jitsu. So in other sports, a striker will have a hard time getting to a Division I level wrestling, but I think a wrestler can almost get his striking to a pro level striking because the mentality and the drilling and the work ethic.
What type of mindset do you need to have to be able to compete in UFC, obviously at the highest level like you're doing?
I mean, you got to have a great mindset. You know, I'm pretty emotionless when it comes to business, and this is a big business. I've had moments where, I let my feelings get to me and I was in my feelings, but in general, I try to keep those out. You have to be patient. You got to be able to enjoy the process. I had hard times with that. I wasn't enjoying the walkout. I wasn't enjoying the ability to be able to travel and meet new people and train and fight on these large cars. I was just fighting. So to be able to enjoy the process, and sometimes the process takes longer than what we expect. A lot of fighters and fans and people that think they want to fight, they're watching fighting from a couch and they think they're supposed to just quit their job. And because they did that, they should be in the UFC really quickly. So just on top of that, the balance of entertainment, the media obligations, and then still training, and then still competing. And you can't just win anymore. You got to win exciting. You got to win convincingly. You got to win in crazy, dramatic fashion. And that's a lot of pressure to already deal with by itself. And you add in the other things I said prior to that, you have to be able to manage all that. So that divine balance is something that's very hard to find.
You recently won the UFC Welterweight Championship. What were the first thoughts that came to mind when they announced you as the winner?
Man, I've been waiting to hear that for so long, and new welterweight champion of the world. It just felt good to finally hear it. I've been envisioning Dana wrapping the belt around my waist, my hands in the air, and just to know that it finally happened. And it wasn't like, okay, I'm done, I did it, I retired. None of these fights matter after that, but that was the first part of my goal, is to get the championship. And after I get the championship, then to reign over the division and put myself financially in a different situation, to also create my legacy so that I can be a Hall of Famer one day and do the sport as long as I could and utilize whatever funds I generated and whatever exposure to do something positive and to put my family in a different category. So I'll have an opportunity to do that, and it'll start with this fight against Wonderboy.
Speaking about that fight against Wonderboy, UFC 205, the premiere of UFC in New York City at the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. How excited are you to be on this card? How excited are you to be fighting at Madison Square Garden in New York?
I mean, I'm extremely excited. Madison Square Garden, as you said, is the number one arena in the world, not only for sports but also entertainment. And our sport just so happened to be entertainment as well. So you're going to see the who's who of there. The fact that the UFC is purchased by William Morris. Now you're going to see a lot of celebrity there, a lot of actors there. It's going to be a star-studded event, and I believe being the co-main event or whatever I fall on the card, just fighting for a world title underneath those terms, man, that's something you got to be able to get up for. I went from fighting in super small venues, bars, almost tennis courts, anywhere you can think of outside, and to be able to fight in this arena with the biggest stakes on, protecting your belt. And I'm fighting for my life in this situation, because being able to be the champion is going to make my life better. So losing this belt is going to, prevent me from doing that. So I'm going out there with a lot of passion and a lot of preparation.
You mentioned the recent purchase of UFC, and you seem like someone who definitely pays attention to the business side. So what were your initial thoughts when that sale happened?
I thought it was, if I was Lorenzo or the UFC and those guys, that this is their baby. They built it up from the ground. They took a risk when no one else took a risk. Mm-hmm. They spent a couple $1 million to get it started. They were in positions where they almost thought they were going to go bankrupt and not be able to, keep producing fights. Then the Ultimate Fighter show came out. Then the trash talkers started coming out. Then the sport has really excelled in a manner that no one was prepared for. The UFC cannot say they expected this sport to be this large, this fast. 24 years of this sport being around. Like, think about how long wrestling's been around, or boxing, or basketball. These sports, some of them date, centuries back. Yeah. And for a sport that's only been around for less than 25 years, that it has this exposure, it's the most popular sport in the country, I think they should be patting themselves on the back that they would get someone that see the potential of it and then decides to buy the organization from. So I just thought that will open up more doors for us as athletes.
If you weren't UFC Welterweight Champion of the world, if you weren't MMA fighter, what would you be doing for a living?
I mean, what I'm doing now, I'm still an actor. I'm a stunt guy. I'm a business owner. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a mentor. I'm a motivational speaker. I'm just an entrepreneur in every aspect of it. So I would be maybe a professional athlete in a different sport. Maybe I'd be a NFL football player, or maybe, who knows. I think I would be great in something. It's just always been instilled in me since I was a kid. I never thought I wouldn't be, exceptional at something. So I guess it doesn't really come to surprise me that I am in the UFC, that I am a champion, because this is the one sport I can utilize all my adversity, all the passion, all the hard work, all the ups and downs, all the struggle. It's something that you can use all those emotions to drive you in training through a fight. That's why my nickname is The Chosen One. I feel like it's almost God laughing at everything that I went through. It's kind of put me in this moment for this time, to be in this sport during this moment. And this is the first fight ever that's legalized in New York. I'm meant to be on this card to put on the show.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about some of your business ventures.
Right now I own a gym called ATT Evolution. It's a family fitness center, martial art academy. I'm looking to invest in some different restaurants and, just in general, things that can make passive income or residual income. I act, I do stunt work. Eventually I would like to write a few books. I got 3 books that I want to write. One of them that can eventually turn into autobiography or biography as a movie. And those things I think will actually cement me and put me in a position where, I'm post-economic.
I read about, you having a passion for working with kids and giving back to the community. Can you tell us about some of that work that you do?
Yeah, I started a mentoring program called P5 Protocol, just a positive purpose, prayer, position, and praise. It's a spiritual one that was based on FCA, so I did that in the inner city, East St. Louis, Illinois, and it was great. We started off with 45. I think they're well over a couple hundred right now, and just to be able to be a part of that and beginning that Jackie Joyner Christian Center that closed down because they were selling drugs inside the gate. So with that said, to have it reopened and to be a part of a mentoring program to install positive and life skills into kids is something I always have wanted to use this platform of the UFC to be able to do, to get more credibility, to get more opportunities, and to get the visibility so people can know that I'm out here and I would like to, try to impact these kids. And going out there and winning only gives me a larger stage.
Final question. What can we expect from you in the future?
I mean, you can expect more dominant performances. Sometimes, people think it's by mistake. They think it's by accident. And you just got to keep showing them over and over again. And eventually, maybe one day, maybe not, they'll realize I'm the best welterweight in the world. I've said it before. I say it humbly, but I do feel like skill set wise, speed wise, power wise, just ability to get from point A to point B. And when someone gets hurt, I always get them out of there. And just the mindset. And I know it's my time, and I know my destiny, and I know what I want out of this stuff. And when you're sure about all those things, it just makes you a very tough opponent to beat.
I know I said final question, but I got to ask you outside the ring question. What do you, when you're not training, which I'm sure dominates your schedule, you have business ventures, when you just want to relax and have fun, what are some of the things that you do?
I don't have a ton of hobbies, man. I used to like to go to the gun range and go shoot. Eventually I like to get outdoors and shoot a little bit. Haven't had a lot of time to do that, to be honest. I have 4 kids, so they become my hobby. So when it's a football game or track and field event or wrestling match, I just value time with my family and being able to be there for them, because when I was an athlete, my dad has only saw 2 sporting events in his life. He saw my last football game, my last wrestling match, and then after I was an adult and I got into mixed martial arts, then he re-entered into my life, and he's been able to spectate some of my biggest moments in MMA. But before then, he wasn't at any of my events.
3 boys and a girl?
3 boys and a girl.
Any future fighters of your 4 kids?
I got all athletes. My kids are very athletic. They're very hardworking. They understand it. They are a little spoiled. I think that's from growing up in the hood. You kind of spoil your kids a little bit more than you should.
Absolutely.
But just in general, I think one of them definitely wants to be a fighter. They all want to wrestle. They all want to box. And I think my youngest son is going to be the surpriser. Because right now he said, I don't want to play sports. I just want to be a dad. I'm like, you ain't going to just be in my house and be a damn dad. So I think he's the one that's equal, athletic. He understands it. He analyzes things really well. And I think he's going to be the athlete that surprises us.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
No worries.